So what I want to do is just get a quick overview of Hyper-V as an application, um, some of the settings, how to essentially change or configure uh, your Hyper-V manager. In this particular case, this is running on a Windows 11 machine, but you can also right-click Hyper-V manager up at the top, connect to server, and then connect to another computer that will require open firewall ports and as well as access to that computer. So typically domain joined computers work better. In this particular case, like I said, we have a local machine. So you can right click that local machine and you can create certain aspects on that actual virtual server. Excuse me. So for example, we could do a quick create. Some of the settings there we'll go over in a minute. You can create a new virtual disk, a virtual machine, a floppy disk. You can import virtual machines. You can go into the Hyper-V settings as well as the switch, or if there's virtual SAN storage, we could add that in as well. If you don't know what a SAN storage, it's a storage area network. This particular virtual SAN would just give this Hyper-V server access to essentially a bunch of disks that it can store data onto. You can edit the disk, inspect the disk. You can stop the service. You can remove the server. Those are all available. You can also customize and add different columns. Right now we have all of the columns up here, but you can add others, or I'm sorry, remove them and then add them back if you need to. So let's go, and you can see there's an actions pane, has the exact same thing. So if I click off of this, action pane goes away, and you just have the connect to server, and you can customize your view. So on this server, we're going to go into the virtual, the Hyper-V settings, and the first one is where we store our virtual disks. You can browse and pick a different folder if necessary. So that's the hard disks. The virtual machines are essentially everything that's not the disk. CPU, essentially the hardware around that virtual machine. So there's just two pieces of the file. Obviously the virtual disk is going to be the larger piece, but the virtual machine is how it runs. Right now we're allowing spanning. Let's see, this guy allows you to use the memory in a spanning way. So basically it increases the overall performance, but it'll use and lower as necessary. The default here is 2. I changed this to 10, but you can move virtual machines between servers, and there is this limitation on that. We're allowing the enhanced session. Again, these are a lot of defaults, and you can always Google this to find out more. We have whether to use the physical computer or the virtual machine in terms of the keyboard. You can change these settings. So to release the mouse, Control Alt Space. You can use the enhanced session mode, and what this basically does, it allows certain things available to the guest operating system. So you can, I turn that on. So when you're on a virtual machine, you can actually just hover off, and you don't have to be stuck in that screen. And then if you mess around with too much, you can just reset it, and everything will go back to the way it was. All right. So now on to the virtual switch manager. You can create a new virtual switch. I've already done that here, but this window here allows you to say create an internal network, and we can create a virtual switch. It'll be here, and then you can actually assign a VLAN ID to it if you need to. This is for large networks where you have multiple LANs, and the servers might not necessarily need to be able to talk to each other. So you can kind of isolate them using this technology here. And then you can give it a name, add notes if you want to, and then hit apply. I'm not going to do that at this moment. Virtual SAN. Now, in this particular case, it's a fiber, and you would just create this here. No fiber ports are available again, this is a workstation, not a server, but if you had fiber connections coming into your server and it was connected to a back-end network storage, uh, you could then create that connection here. Um, and then worldwide names, these are uh, WWPN. This is addresses that can be used and assigned dynamically to the fiber channel port. So this is kind of networking within the fiber LAN that you're setting up. So edit disk. This is just allowing you to change where the storage location is for the disk. We're not going to be changing that at the moment. Inspect disk. So you can grab a virtual drive or a virtual disk and see if there's problems with it. We'll get there here in just a minute. So everything looks good there. So let's go ahead and right click, and we're going to import a virtual machine, and we're going to browse. And in this particular case, I created a dev machine for Windows 11, and I'm just going to have it re-import, and it's struggling. So that's great. Let's do a quick create. Microsoft has built in some capabilities here. Windows 10 packaging really is meant for being on a domain, not very helpful. There's a few Ubuntu servers, and then that Windows 11 dev environment that I initially set up. So it's going to try and go out to the internet, download essentially 20 gigs of data from the internet, and build a virtual machine. So that's how we're going to get started. I'm going to come back and work on some extra details with differential disks, but I wanted to give a quick overview on Hyper-V and how it works. All right, thank you.